When I said AC and DC, there was a time when there was a battle of currents. Does anyone know about battle of currents? Clash of the Titans. So you had these two very important persons, Edison, who said DC is the best, and Tesla, who said that AC is the best. So by the time Nikola Tesla was born, Edison was already a businessman, an inventor, who was very famous. But Nikola Tesla was a very, very, very intelligent student by that time. He wanted to go for doing some research in science or maybe engineering, etc. But his father wanted him to be a priest. Somehow he fell ill, and then he somehow made his father promise him to send him to a university where he could learn engineering, electrical, where one of his professors said AC, alternating current, is like perpetual machine. Perpetual machine means a machine which is impossible to be made. So AC is also impossible. But Nikola Tesla said, in his mind, he knew that it is a possible thing. So he wanted to do more about it, and he went to more research on that. Somehow he was a very intelligent student. Unlike what we say about many other scientists, Tesla was a very intelligent student. And so he used to learn all the things in advance. Whatever he wanted to learn, whatever he had in this syllabus, he used to learn very much in advance. So he found each class very boring, as some of you may be feeling now. Okay, very boring. But what happened, he did not attend many of the classes. This is a warning to many of you. Okay, he did not attend many of the classes, and he went for gambling. And he slowly went into the addiction of gambling. And finally, what happened? He left all his studies back, and then he finally ended up there. So, and one time he felt so desperate that he escaped to Budapest, some other place. So people thought that he committed suicide and then went around, and finally they found that he has not committed suicide. He is in Budapest. Now what happened is that, hence, though this underlined the sentence, though he was a very intelligent student, he could not complete his graduation. He was not a graduate at all. He went to Budapest and he worked in a postal office. Even when he had this dream of AC, he met an associate of Edison, and he said Edison is having some problems in US regarding his research. So at that point in time in US, there was Joseph Swan and Edison, two persons together found out incandescent lamp. Though Edison was a very crooked and very shrewd person, shrewd businessman, that we know that incandescent lamp was invented by Edison, but actually it was invented by both of them together. Anyway, so he was advocating DC. His company was General Electric. Even now you have this General Electric. And then he had in 1880s, okay, in 1880s, long back, he lighted up America, in the sense that wherever you want to light, you had to have the source very nearby. So if it is an DC kind of, if you are lighting up a light, or if you are switching on a light by a DC source, the source should be very nearby. You cannot transmit it longer, as you will find later on why it is so. You don't have a transformer for stepping up or stepping down. All those things are there. One thing is that the source should be very nearby. The second problem that the DC had was most of the machines which work on DC have high amount of sparking. So when Nikola Tesla came to Edison's workshop, the first assignment that Edison gave to Nikola as his employer was to find a means by which the sparks can be reduced. So Tesla has started working on this, though he did not like working on DC. He worked on DC for the sake of money, and then he was promised an amount of $50,000 by Edison. So he found out some means by which sparking can be reduced, but he was not paid $50,000. He said Edison laughed at Tesla, saying that it was just an American humor that I said. Who will pay $50,000 to you? So Tesla was devastated, because that much amount of time he could have spent for doing research in AC. So he resigned from there and then went on for toiling. So many small things like lift operator, so many jobs he went through. And finally, he met someone like George Westinghouse. George Westinghouse was a rich man. Even now you have Westinghouse, okay, company. Those companies are still there, Westinghouse. And they worked together towards, actually Westinghouse was also advocating AC and was in opposition to Edison. And they came up. They got associated with each other, and Tesla, I think, came up with a number of patents, more than 20 US patents he got. This association of Tesla, Edison's Edison's former employee, Tesla, this association of Tesla with George Westinghouse made Edison so furious that he started some negative publicity. You might have seen this somewhere in your reading, that Edison negative publicity means Edison said AC was too wrong, and what Edison did was an unpardonable crime of negative publicity. He electrocuted animals like elephants with AC to prove that AC was very dangerous. And later on, he even went to the extent of electrocuting a man, a prisoner, who was sentenced to death. Okay, but he did it with AC. So what they did, what the other people, Tesla and Westinghouse did was, in 1893, there was a fair where they called for, whoever can light these places at the lowest cost. Tesla won the bid for half the price of what Edison said. And this is what happened in 1893. He lighted this by using AC. Later on, that was the first ever win by Tesla over Edison. Then he went on to show that there is a man standing on the right hand side. If you can look clearly, you can see a man. He showed that AC, if it is handled properly, can even be used like a lighting. There is a man lighting there. He has passed around 1,000 volts through his body, but at high frequency. Okay. And later on, he went to Niagara. Tesla went to Niagara. He made the first hydroelectric power plant in Niagara. I had the fortune of visiting Niagara. And why I'm saying all these things, you should get inspired. You can do much more. I went to US, Niagara only. You can go to Moon or even to Mars, because you are so small children just budding up, graduates. You can do much more. And then he went on the very important contribution of Tesla is perhaps a Tesla coil. Tesla coil means it's almost like a high step-up transformer where you give just 220 volt or something, but you get lakhs of volts outside, so much high that the air around it gets ionized. And he advocated wireless electricity. Without wire, you can transmit electricity, and you could see lightning coming out of the Tesla coil. Lightning was divine till then. In our Hindu mythology also, we say that Indra, the god of the king of gods, is responsible for lightning, but Tesla made it. So lightning is no more divine. There is science behind it. There are singing Tesla coils, all those things. If you ask me what is the most important contribution of Tesla, it is polyphase AC motors, still used in most like induction motors, etc. They are still used, the basics of which are still being used. Tesla, the EV car company, is still using the basics of that. MIT is going through the research of wireless electricity. One of my research scholars have done PhD in wireless electricity. Then he came up with X-ray, but X-ray which was better than the actual X-ray now. Then he came with remote car automized moving parts, which people ridicule. All these things people ridicule, but now we are going back to it. there was this Wardenclyffe tower which he made. A tower was made with Tesla coil, and he said such towers should be installed at many, many places so that you can have wireless transmission of energy, which was never implemented. His lab was someone, or maybe, I don't know whether it was a sabotage or not. His lab was on fire. He lost so many things that Marconi got the patent for radio, whereas Tesla was the first person who could have patented for radio. He died a pauper. He didn't have any money. He died a pauper. But now, if you ask me whether the battle between AC and if you ask me whether AC has won the battle finally, I won't say yes, because the computer which I am using, the mobile phone which we all use, and all the other things, the iPhone, iPad, and everything that we use nowadays are all working on DC. So what started as, so we need AC as well as DC. And the advent of power electronic devices, switching devices, which you will learn in higher semesters. Power electronic devices like thyristor, switching IGBT, all those things. The advent of power electronic devices has revolutionized the field. Like, you can convert AC to DC, you can convert DC to AC. All those things are there. So whether AC1 or DC1, no one, AC or DC, neither of them won, both of them won, so that mankind has won. Because nowadays we have another research scholar has done a research work on hybrid systems where you can have both AC as well as DC in your lines. So finally, what I want to tell you is mankind wins. There is no battle now, it's just a handshake between AC and DC.